We will discuss yesterday. We have started about the cholinergic system and the drugs, which are cholinergic agonists and other thing. Today we will go ahead with the actual topic is concerned. I think you are all can hear the cholinergic system and the drugs. So the cholinomimetics drug or cholinergic drugs are called as cholinomimetic agents, or they are also known as parasympathomimetic agents because they are mimicking the parasympathetic nervous system. And these drugs are called as the cholinomimetic because they are going to stimulate the cholinergic nerves or cholinomime or mimic the cholinergic system. And so these drugs which produce action similar to that of the acetylcholine, that's why they are called as the cholinergic drugs. So either by directly interacting with cholinergic receptors, or they are also known as cholinergic agonists, or by increasing the availability of the acetylcholine at these sites, or they are also known as anticholinesterase drugs. So the classification of the cholinergic agonists first. So we now the conduction of the cholinergic system now, the action potential, the initiation of the action potential, then the junctional transmission, the role of the acetylcholinesterase, etc. So in this class, we are going to deal the drugs which are going to act on the cholinergic nervous system. So the acetylcholine is and is also a agonist which is going to act on the cholinergic nervous system. Apart from this one, the methanicol and the other systems are also acting. Similarly, the alkaloids like muscarine, pilocarpine and many other drugs, they are the one which are going to act on the particular system, especially the cholinergic nervous system. So we can say that these drugs are cholinomimetic in nature. All these drugs are going to act on the cholinergic receptors and going to mimic the action of the cholinergic nervous system. Of course, the most of the drugs like the muscarine, the pilocarpine and arecolin. So muscarine is obtained from Amanita muscaria. Pilocarpine is obtained from the Pilocarpus jaborandi, and arecolin is from areca nut, that's Areca catechu. So the muscarinic actions of these drugs, all the drugs, acetylcholine and other things, already we have dealt, but we will see the synthetic drugs, how they are going to act on heart. So the heart, acetylcholine hyperpolarizes the SA nodes, and all these are due to the M type of muscarinic type of the receptor. So as a result, rate of impulse generation is reduced, that is the bradycardia, or even cardiac arrest may also occur. So at the AV node and his Purkinje fibers, refractory period is increased to conduction is slowed, axonal conduction is slowed because of the more and more refractory period. So the PQR, the PR interval increases and partial to complete AV block may be produced. The force of atrial contraction is markedly reduced, and the atrial fibers is also abbreviated. Resting membrane potential of atrial fibers is abbreviated, and due to the non-uniform vagal stimulation, the differentiatrial fibers varies, including the what you call as the inhomology and in predisposing to atrial fibrillation or flutter. Then the ventricular contractibility is also decreased, but the effect is not marked. All this type of the action is brought by the M2 subtype of the receptor, which is already learnt by you in the previous classes. And the action of the cholinomimetic agents on the blood vessels, all blood vessels are dilated. So the action is due to the M3 type of the receptors. So they are all dilated through few, the skin, face, neck, salivary glands, So they receive the cholinergic innervation and there is a fall in blood pressure and flushing. So especially the blush area occurs, and the M3 receptors are present on vascular endothelial cells, and the vasodilatation is primarily mediated through the release of a specific substance known as the endothelial derived relaxing factor, or also abbreviated as EDRF. And now it is very well known that EDRF is nitric oxide. So there are nitric oxide receptors are there, and these receptors are going to be activated and the relaxation or dilatation occurs. The phospholipase C and the inositol triphosphate versus the diacylglycerol pathway. Diacylglycerol pathway activates endothelial nitric oxide synthase through the calcium calmodulin mechanism. And when the endothelium is damaged by disease, acetylcholine can diffuse to the vascular smooth muscle and cause vasoconstriction via M3 receptor located on the plasma membrane. So these mechanisms are once again interrelated. So you have to go in deep, especially in these molecular mechanisms. Then what happens to the smooth muscles? Smooth muscle in most organs are contracted mainly through the M3 type of the receptors. So the tone and peristalsis in the gastrointestinal tract is increased, and sphincters relax, abdominal cramps and evacuation of the bowels. And peristalsis in ureter is increased, and almost all the smooth muscles of the gastrointestinal tract, it is going to increase. The contraction of the smooth muscles, contraction of the smooth muscles is increased to a greater extent. Then the detrusor muscle, especially detrusor muscle, and the contracts, detrusor muscle of the bladder contracts while the bladder is trigone, and sphincter relaxes voiding the bladder especially, and the bronchial muscles constrict. Asthmatics are highly sensitive for bronchospasms, and dyspnea, precipitation of attack of the bronchial asthma is very common. That's why the persons who are chewing the betel nut or areca nut, if they do have the asthma, and bronchoconstriction will be greatly, it is going to increase. That's why they should be careful while consuming the areca nuts, because it's going to cause the bronchial constriction. And the glands, especially most of the glands, all parasympathetic innervated glands are increased via the secretion, and activity will be increased by M3 and some M2 receptor, just like sweating, salivation, lacrimation, increased tracheobronchial and gastric secretion. All these are increased through M2 and M3 type of the receptor, and the effect on pancreatic and intestinal gland is not markedly, it is going to increase, whereas the secretion of milk and bile is not affected. That's also please note down. Whenever you administer any cholinomimetic agents, milk yield is not increased or the glands are not contracted. And contraction of the eye or iris, there is meiosis, means constriction of the pupil, and this is brought out by the contraction of the ciliary muscles of the eye, and spasms of accommodation, increased overflow facility, reduction in intraocular tension, especially in glaucomatous patients. So there is always, they are going to increase the tension, and glaucoma is going to be increased and worsened. Then the nicotinic actions, these are all the muscarinic actions, whatever we have dealt. These actions are brought about by M1 M3 receptors and also M5 type of the receptors. And the nicotinic type of the actions, autonomic ganglia, the receptors are present in autonomic ganglia and the central nervous system, and also the skeletal muscles. And autonomic ganglia, both sympathetic and parasympathetic ganglia, are going to be stimulated, and this effect is manifested at higher doses, especially in the high doses of the cholinergic agents. And high doses of acetylcholine given after atropine causes tachycardia, because the receptors are going to be blocked and the tachycardia occurs. And rise in blood pressure due to stimulation of sympathetic ganglia and release of the catecholamines. So, whenever you administer the cholinergic agent, there is rise in BP, is due to the sympathetic ganglia, which is going to secrete the norepinephrine and release of the catecholamine. So, what happens on the skeletal muscles? The ionophoretic application of acetylcholine to muscle and plate causes the contraction of the fiber, especially the muscle fiber. The contraction occurs, and the intra-arterial injection of high dose can cause the twitching and fasciculations. It's going to cause such actions, and IV injection is generally without any effect due to rapid hydrolysis of the acetylcholine. So, acetylcholine esterase is present in the junction of every cholinergic neuron, and whenever the acetylcholine is in excess with that of the acetylcholine esterase, it is going to be very fastly destroyed, whereas the norepinephrine is not like that. And another action, especially the nicotinic central nervous system action, is whenever the acetylcholine is injected IV, it is not going to penetrate the blood-brain barrier. Especially the acetylcholine is not going to, the exogenous administration of acetylcholine is not effective on the central nervous system. Please remember this thing, because it is not going to cross the blood-brain barrier. However, direct action into the brain produce arousal responses followed by the depression. And the uses of the cholinergic agents are the cholinesters are rarely, and if ever clinically they are used. And acetylcholine is not used because the evanescent and non-selective actions, because it is going to act on both the N type of the receptors and muscarines. Both are present in the central nervous system. And methacholine was occasionally used to terminate the paroxysmal supraventricular tachycardia, which is mediated from central nervous system, but it is not at all used nowadays. And bethanechol has been used post-operative or post-partum non-obstructive urinary retention. Bethanechol, once upon a time it was used, but because of the neurogenic bladder, especially the bladder which has lost the control of the autonomic nervous system, it's known as the neurogenic bladder, to promote the urination. In such condition, bethanechol, so it was used, and it is and it can afford symptomatic relief in congenital megacolon and the gastroesophageal reflux disease, or it's also known as GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease, or the hyperacidity syndromes. And another thing is especially the megacolon means the colon is going to unresponsive to the regular sympathetic and parasympathetic stimuli, and becomes the mega means the size will be increased to a greater extent, and the digestive system is impaired. And in such condition, the bethanechol was used once upon a time. But there are a lot of side effects are present, like belching and means a discomfort of the stomach, colic, involuntary urination, the defecation, flushing, sweating, fall in BP, and bronchospasm is going to occur. And dose is 10 to 40 milligram oral and 2.5 to 5 milligram subcutaneous, especially the bethanechol and other drugs. And cholinergic alkaloids are there. Varieties of the alkaloids are obtained from the plant sources. So the first one is the pilocarpine. Pilocarpine is obtained from the leaves of Pilocarpus microphyllus, and Pilocarpus jaborandi is another variety. And many Pilocarpus plants do contain the pilocarpine as ingredients. So it has prominent muscarinic action, especially the pilocarpine, and also stimulates the ganglia and has got the nicotinic action, and mainly through the ganglionic muscarinic receptors. So in ganglia, both type of the receptors are there, muscarinic and nicotinic. So the action is initiated by the ganglionic muscarinic type of the receptors, and the small doses generally cause fall in blood pressure because it is the muscarinic in action. They fall in the blood pressure because it is going to act on the heart and going to decrease the heart rate, and because of this thing there is decrease in the blood pressure, and higher doses elicit rise in blood pressure and tachycardia, which is due to the ganglionic stimulation through ganglionic muscarinic receptors. So it's very, very interesting that, see, if small doses, it's going to cause one action. In the larger doses, it is going to reverse the action of the same. And whenever the pilocarpine is applied on the eye, it penetrates the cornea, and promptly causes the meiosis, M-I-O-S-I-S, or the pupillary constriction and ciliary muscle contraction, and fall in intraocular tension in the 4 to 8 hours. That's why the pilocarpine is applied, especially on the eye, for whenever its meiosis is required. Whereas the pilocarpine is used only in the eye as 0.5 to 4% drops, not injected or anything. Directly it is instilled on the eye for the purpose. And it is the third line drug in the glaucoma, open angle glaucoma, wide angle glaucoma, and so many glaucoma are there. So it's not the first drug of choice, especially in the glaucoma. It is the third line of the drug, especially in the open angle glaucoma. The initial stinging sensation or tingling sensation in eye and painful spasm of accommodation are frequent side effects of this pilocarpine. The other uses as the mitotic are the counteract mydriatics after they have been used for testing refraction. So, and to prevent break adhesions of the iris with lens or cornea by altering its mydriasis. So, whenever there is a overdose of certain drugs which are going to cause the mydriasis, then to reverse the action of these drugs, the pilocarpine is used. And whenever there is adhesion in between the the lens and cornea, there is a situation, and if this drug is used, then it will be useful. And it's a silagogue, means increase the salivary rate, but no oral preparation is available. And the pilocarpine is available as 1%, 2%, 4% eye drops, as carpine eye drops, and also Pilo drops 2% eye drop. It's available. And the muscarine, especially, so muscarine is another drug by which the name muscarinic receptors were come because of the effort of Sir Henry Dale. He isolated this muscarine from Amanita muscaria and Inocybe species of the mushrooms. So muscarine is present in Amanita muscaria and Inocybe, Amanita and Inocybe species of the drugs. And Inocybe species and has only, it is not muscarinic actions, muscarine, that's why the name muscarine. So it is not used therapeutically because it is having lot of toxicities, muscarine, just for the diagnostic purpose and characterization of the receptor purpose. It is used not for the therapeutic purpose to a greater extent. And the mushroom poisoning is one of the most common poisoning that's happening in case of if persons consume certain varieties of the mushroom, it's going to cause because of the toxic principle present in the particular species. And last three types of the mushroom poisoning is known, like there are varieties of the mushroom poisoning is now the three types, at least three types of the mushroom poisonings are very well defined. Especially the number one is muscarine type, or it's also known as early mushroom poisoning. Number one is called as the early mushroom poisoning due to the inocybe and related species of the mushrooms, especially inocybe. So this is happening very commonly if the persons do not identify the mushrooms properly and eat them. So please be careful while you are going to eat the mushrooms, and many of you may eat the mushroom manchuris many times. So if it is wrongly identified as the regular edible mushrooms to that of the inocybe species, then definitely it's going to cause the mushroom toxicity. And the symptoms characteristic of muscarinic actions appear within an hour of eating the mushroom and promptly reversed by atropine, because atropine is a specific antidote which is acting on all M type of the receptors, M1, M2, M3, M4 and M5 type of the receptor. And second mushroom poisoning is of the hallucinogenic type, and this is due to the muscimol and other isoxazole compounds which are present in Amanita muscaria and related mushrooms in the larger quantities and rather than the muscarine. So hallucinogenic effect is due to the muscimol and isoxazole are the two compounds which are derived from Amanita muscaria. So it causes the muscarinic, the hallucinogenic effect. These compounds activate amino acid receptors, especially GABA and glycine receptors, and block muscarinic receptors in the brain and have hallucinogenic property. And this manifestation of poisoning are primarily, they are centrally mediated, means it is going to act on the central nervous system, and the receptors, especially which are present in the brain, muscarinic receptors, they are going to be acted by this particular drug. And there is no specific treatment, and atropine is contraindicated in hallucinogenic type. See, because atropine is going to aggravate, because it is not an antidote for this particular poisoning is called. And Psilocybe mexicana is a mushroom whose principle is psilocybin. Silo, P is silent here, psilocybin is a tryptaminergic compound. So there is a different mechanism are there. And the third one is the phelodine type, or the phelodine type of the mushroom poisoning. It's also known as the late mushroom poisoning. So it is also a late mushroom poisoning. Delayed activity of this particular poisoning is there after consumption of the Amanita phalloides and Galerina are related species, and these inhibit the RNA and both protein synthesis. And the symptoms start after many hours and are due to the damage to the GI tract and mucosa, liver and kidney. So this is phelodine type, because the phelodine is the toxic substance, and the treatment consists of supportive treatment. I will not go into the detail about this particular toxicity, and in the course the toxicology, then we can learn about all these toxicities. And the treatment is the thiooctic acid, means have some antidotal effect. It's also important. And another drug is known as the arecolin, is found from the betel nut or Areca catechu, and has muscarinic as well as the nicotinic actions, and including those skeletal muscle end plates. So there is the skeletal muscle end plate, and arecolin hydrochloride is one of the drug. Arecolin hydrochloride is one of the drug which was once upon a time used as a teniacidal or the anticystodal drug, because it used to cause the peristalsis by stimulation of the intestinal smooth muscles and evacuate the cystodes, and it was also having some action on the cystodes and used to cause the paralysis of the cystodes and the anticystodal drug. But nowadays, because of the modern drug like the praziquantel, which are very specific to the worms are considered and less effect on the host. So the arecolin has got the CNS effect. So you are going to eat the pan parag and many other areca containing things, areca catechu and areca beetle nuts has been tried in dementia as an enhancer of cognitive functions, but not found to be useful. And it is tried, so many drugs are tried, but has no therapeutic use. Arecolin has not got any therapeutic or the medical use, whereas the beetle nut is very commonly a commercial crop of many countries, including India is one of the biggest producer of the areca nut. Of course, the Western Ghats and also the Davanagere, the Shimoga district part, upper Ghats of the district. So, lot of areca is produced, and from this arecolin, please remember areca nut in areca nut garden and the arecolin. Arecolin has not got any therapeutic effect, but it also acts centrally CNS and on the central nervous system, and also the peripheral activity is present.